Media Watch, as promised, James Creedon's here. James, we're looking at news organisations.
Yes.
Maybe even France 24. James will explain.
We'll see.
Beginning to place restrictions on how journalists use the microblogging site Twitter. Is this using it as an expression or using it as a source material?
Using it as an expression, and increasingly they're getting a little bit concerned about it. They're like, hold on a minute, you know, the one thing about Twitter is your impulses can suddenly become almost like news wires.
That's
right?
the thing, isn't it? That's the thing.
And some of them are getting a little bit concerned about that. So you have, in the past week, two networks in the UK, Sky News and the BBC, have created rules for their journalists in terms of how they use Twitter. So, for example, if you can see here on the Guardian website, Jonathan Haynes is detailing that for their newsroom. He thinks they've gone too far, actually. I'll explain his thoughts in a second, but just to first give a sense of what these rules are. Sky News, information posted by other journalists or people on Twitter cannot be retweeted. Now, just for those who aren't familiar with Twitter, it's a microblogging site. You put up a short little message so journalists can share a thought or share a link to an article. And now a journalist at Sky cannot reshare that. If there's another journalist, another person on Twitter, you cannot reshare a thought or a tweet. You cannot retweet.
Okay, so on my Twitter, Marco in F24, if I put Paris Saint-Germain is the second best football team in the world, Everton is the best, tweeted that, you then, under these rules, wouldn't be allowed to retweet that.
If you're working at Sky.
Okay.
And so that's then over at the BBC, they have also put restrictions in place. They're saying that our first priority remains ensuring that important information reaches BBC colleagues and certainly not after it reaches Twitter. So what they want to make sure of is that their journalists don't tweet information before it's brought back into the newsroom. And for example, one rule might be that you would have to text back to the newsroom before you tweet something from the field. So it's trying to stop people from tweeting information before it's been verified
in England,
or checked with the newsroom.
Reporting from courtrooms, for instance, people being allowed to sort of send Twitter messages from the courtroom, which you know would have been unthinkable at one point, because obviously you can't film the court, you can't record in the court. But to do that, you're getting things out straight away, and obviously alerting all your rivals to what you're actually going to be covering, I suppose.
I from what I've read here, I think that sort of tweeting would still be legit if you're just reporting things as they happen. But anyway, they're trying to rein it in. And it's interesting to see that actually over at CNN, and you can see this tweet here, they suspended one of their contributors, a guy called Roland Martin, for a tweet that he made about the Super Bowl, which was seen as homophobic, something about a David Beckham ad. And, you know, he said, smack the S out of him, whatever. In any case, the thing about Twitter is once it's out there, it's out there.
And of course, it is immediate, isn't it? That's the thing, you know. You use a Twitter account. I use a Twitter account. I just talk about anything. You know, it's personal stuff or it's professional stuff. But it's always something with a slightly sort of offbeat look at things. You use yours in a similar fashion. And I think it's about just basically sharing things with the world that
That's it. And I suppose sometimes you can forget. You can forget
that kind of thing, though. I mean, where you're sort of making a remark which could be perceived as homophobic.
Well, he got suspended, and I suppose this is the thing. You're doing
the problem, isn't it?
You're doing it in the comfort of your own home. You're doing it on your phone, etc., and you forget that this is something extremely public. Now, just to move on, Mark, just to show you one more thing. This is in the US. Satire. We all love a bit of satire.
We do.
And the Onion website is one of the best in the world at satirizing political stories. Right. Now, a congressman in the US in the state of Louisiana took the Onion a little bit too seriously about an article they put up in March of this year. Here's the article in question. Now, it's taking the whole abortion debate and making it into...
Planned Parenthood opens $8 billion abortion plex. Okay.
Right. Now, that's not true, right? It's a complete exaggeration.
It couldn't be true,
He was horrified when he saw this headline, shared it with all of his Facebook followers, and indeed... it was picked up on by this particular blog called Literally Unbelievable. Stories from the Onion as interpreted by Facebook.
That exists. So my word, that exists.
It's very entertaining. You've got others such as, that's the one there about the congressman. You've got another one here. Oh, that's a completely different story, actually.
Yeah.
But you've got some crazy stuff that has been picked up by people on Facebook as fact and shared with everybody. And it's quite entertaining.
Okay.
Worth checking out. Literally Unbelievable.
A bit like James Creedon. There we go. James, thank you very much. James Creedon with Media Watch. Stay with us, having a short break after that. A full roundup of the news, looking at sport too and culture. Full menu for you here on Live from Paris.